Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Regrettable Burrow. We're at cycle 700. Let's take a look at what's going on in the base, what's changed, and what's to come. We'll just quickly start at the very top. I finally started my foundation on my first steps to getting into space. I'm not going to go over this too much because this is quite complicated in itself, but essentially in order to get to space, you need to have space scanners set up, which will tell you when the meteor showers are coming. And when there are no meteor showers, the bunker doors will open and they will drop regolith. When the regolith is dropped, the space scanners cannot see, so you need your robominers or another method to get rid of the regolith so you have clear access to the sky for your space scanners and for your telescope. And once you have this foundation set up, you can start working on your rocket. So that's the gist of what's going on up here. This is, like I said, this is quite complicated. So I'm not going to go into too in-depth into this. I will at some point, but not right now. And if anyone is trying to copy this, this setup currently does not work. There are a lot of mistakes that I made, but that's how this game goes. You build something, it doesn't work, so you try again. I'm planning to build my rocket over here. The first one will be a steam rocket, and then I will transition into petroleum. But for now, I have to get my infrastructure set up first, so my bunker doors can protect my base, and in order for my bunker doors to open, I need to know when the meteor showers are coming. So it's just a big loop of problem solving to get to space, like anything else in this game. One huge addition has been the transit access tube, which is something that's usually built around the start of your late game. If you've been producing plastic this whole time since early mid-game phase, you should have more than enough plastic to build your transit tube all the way down to your base and eventually all around your entire asteroid. This was built with plastic that I've been generating since I had my Glossy Dreco farm at the very beginning of the game. I still have 70 tons of plastic remaining. That's after all the plastic that I've used to set up this transit tube. So it really just shows you just how powerful the Glossy Drecos are if you set them up early enough. And not only that, but you're going to be rewarded with barbecue as well when they die. And if you look down here, this is sort of my drowning farm, but it doesn't really drown them. I just let them die in here naturally. I have more than enough Glossy Drecos to set up multiple farms. I just don't need to. They produce more than enough plastic for me, for my needs. And the faster you can get that set up in your early game or your mid game, the more plastic you're going to have at the end. I think I originally had a polymer press. I think I had it set up somewhere here, but I just didn't feel the need to use it once my Glossy Drecos were at full capacity. So I've expanded my Bristle Blossom capacity to match my Pinch Pepper capacity, and this is going to help me get more sustainable food by making stuffed berries. My food situation is looking very good. I don't have to worry about food at all. So I've spent a lot of time building the infrastructure for getting to space. Therefore, not much has changed down here. Everything else has been the same since the last video. I don't know if I talked about it too much, but I have 2 oil wells. I have my iron volcano tamed, another gold volcano tamed down here, 2 natural gas geysers, another natural gas geyser, and currently my base is running mostly off natural gas with coal backups and petroleum once the natural gas is fully depleted. So someone asked me in my comments, what do I do with the carbon dioxide in the early game and in mid game? And this is a topic that I'll cover in its own separate video, but this example of a base that's 700 cycles deep kind of gives you a good idea of how adequate airflow management and dealing with carbon dioxide will help you in the long run. If you have adequate airflow throughout your base, airflow tiles at several intervals, and if you have space on both sides of your ladders, all the carbon dioxide that's accumulated from your duplicates breathing will eventually make its way down into the very lowest level of your base. So you can see here that even the area where they run along to get to the atmosuit docks is completely free of carbon dioxide. Now, it does have lingering amounts where they breathe out as they're working, but this is the easiest strategy to deal with this. You want to have your main floor where the duplicates are working, and then one tile, or you can have more, 2 tile space below their main working area where the carbon dioxide will collect. And you can see this little channel here runs all the way along, just a little bit lower than the working area of my duplicants. All the carbon dioxide will eventually collect into my water basin pit, and it will just sit there until it's pumped up by the gas pump. Now, originally, I had this set up so when this gas element sensor detects the carbon dioxide, meaning the carbon dioxide fills up to the very top level of this basin, that it would pump it out just into space. Originally, I had this gas pipe hooked up instead of going up here. It will go through this gas filter, which is a much cheaper gas filter than the one that the game provides you, and I'll explain this in a separate video. But essentially how this works is the gas element sensor sends a signal to the gas shutoff, and if it detects carbon dioxide, it will tell the gas shutoff to open, allowing the carbon dioxide through. Any other type of gas will just simply vent back out into the high pressure vent, and that's usually only oxygen. So the carbon dioxide would just hook into my main exhaust pipe coming from my natural gas generators. And this just vents out into space, as you can see, and it gets deleted in space. So what I've changed is now instead of venting it out, I'm just rerouting it up here to where my slicksters are. And they feed off the carbon dioxide. The slickster eggs I got from the printing pod, and they feed on carbon dioxide. Now these are all wild slicksters. I don't groom them or try to tame them. They're just sitting here taking care of the carbon dioxide that my duplicants breathe, and they will occasionally die and drop meat, which I can turn into barbecue. So it's a very passive form of having extra food. And in worst case scenario, if I have a situation where my food infrastructure collapses for whatever reason, I could manually kill all these slicksters and have some barbecue to get me by. So there you have it, a very easy solution dealing with carbon dioxide. Just let it accumulate at the bottom of your base in a way that's not interfering with the work of your duplicants, and either vent it out into space or simply feed it to slicksters if you can find them. This is not going to be very convenient in the early game because you're probably going to have coal generators producing extra carbon dioxide. As soon as you have the necessary infrastructure and material and labor to relocate your coal generators, do that right away. The base doesn't end up like this with significant relocations of buildings and machines throughout the playthrough. There was another question on how to deal with polluted water from your lavatories. That's another great question. I'll do a separate video on that as well. But just to quickly gloss over it, all the polluted water that is coming out of my sinks and lavatories heads straight into this liquid reservoir. This liquid reservoir acts as a buffer just in case it cannot be output into my hydroponic farms. My hydroponic farms will consume the polluted water and delete any germs that come with it. So you can see the setup for that. And this also works with your showers. It's a great way to deal with polluted water that's coming from your lavatories because it's germy water. So there you have it. This is cycle 700 of my playthrough on the base game of Oxygen Not Included. If you guys have any questions about what you see here or how to do certain builds, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to help you guys. So with that, I'm Ethan, and I'll talk to you guys later.